Okay, anyway, we're in the back rooms today. I decided that we'll kind of just do my normal workout that I normally do about 2 times a week. And I'll talk about some things because I saw this Reckless Ben video, and he was talking a lot about the school system, and did a video on Provo Canyon. And personally, I think it was a really good and insightful video. I think it's like a lot of people need to realize that, how do you say this? The world doesn't treat child enrichment the best way it should. I think a lot of places really should try to treat children the way they should be treated. And a lot of places pre-fail on children before they're already able to prove themselves. So they grow up with a mental self-doubt. They don't have as much mental cognizance. Sometimes it's confidence or a lot of other things in themselves, right? I think that kind of sucks. And then in the Provo Canyon Institute, obviously this institution is designed as a daycare of some sorts. I don't think it's designed to be a school. I think it's designed to be a place where you put kids at. I don't really understand how people kind of fall for it, I'd say. Because it's like, why is that a thing? And then it's also in Utah. Why is everything happening in Utah? Reckless Ben has it out for Utah. Utah is his ops. So I think that's pretty funny. I think a lot of other things can be said about that. I think it's kind of sad, right? But the whole story goes he goes undercover into this school that's supposed to be basically illegal, and it has the worst conditions for students. It makes private schools look good, and I mean, at least they had a decent amount of teachers to student ratio, but the quality of teachers were just basically anyone, and you can't have a criminal teaching students. And they hired a criminal who was undercover, who was Sheldon. I think it's so crazy and so interesting. And of course, as Reckless Ben, we get hit with the next time on Dragon Ball Z. I think that personally is one of the worst things to happen. I think that maybe it should be well, I mean, obviously this place just gives no fucks. I lost count of 5. They give no fucks, and because they give no fucks, it's just a profit thing. And I believe so many places have just become run by capitalism. They're just fully indoctrinated by the idea of capitalism. We need to extract as much money as we can from these places, which I think isn't the best. It's not the best. I think it's just funny because it's like this guy snuck in as a 30-year-old. I just don't know how that's possible. And so I think we should talk a little bit about child enrichment school systems and teacher nonsense. Because if you want to see the video, you can see the video. Maybe I'll react to it on stream or something if I find something interesting, like I did with the bricks and minifigs. So yeah, there was the Provo Canyon nonsense. With students, this is something with my nephew, and my nephew goes to public school or whatever. He has a single parent mom, all that stuff. I'm not gonna talk about their business. But this kid is going to public school, and he's not the most attentive child, I guess. He's grew up, and maybe I could have helped in developing him further. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the best uncle you could have. I was depressed. So I'd say that. But one day I was teaching this kid. He was doing math on our kitchen table, and I was teaching him. I was seeing his questions and how he was just running through, not even caring about it. And like when I went to him, and he was doing a basic multiplication. The multiplication where you gotta multiply like the two numbers and there's a bottom number and then you gotta add them. Like 5th grade math or something. He was doing that multiplication, and every single answer I saw was wrong. And it's like, number one, how do we accept this? But he knew how to do it. But the thing was, he was so incentivized to rush or whatever, to say, oh, I did my homework, rather than to actually do it. Because I was sitting there the same way. I was sitting there, he's in the kitchen table, I was walking by, I mess with the cats or something. I was sitting there, I had my root beer, I had to spray it. And I look over, and I'm like, these are wrong. And so I spent my time to help him with it. I could have done this more, but he was sitting there, and right, he's doing the questions, right, and I'm looking over, and I'm like, no, that's wrong, no, that's wrong, no, that's wrong. But when I questioned him, and I'm like, what's the answer? He had an idea of doing it, but no one trained him to do the process properly. Or no one took the time to do the process properly, I'd say. And so the moment I went over with him, this was like a 3-page worksheet, front and back. I think it was 2 pages, like 3 pages total, front and back. Probably like 25 questions on a page. They'd be fast for any normal adult, but for a kid, it's like, dude, that guy had to do so much. But I think he'll never probably remember this or realize this, but I told him this: you don't want to rush in understanding this, because basically this multiplication is just adding, and until you remember the timetable, basically, you won't be good at it. Because even now as adults, I think for adults, we take for granted the fact that we essentially had, quote unquote, training in muscle memory. That's what we had. And because we had training in muscle memory, we're able to, make this look it's not, we're basically able to ignore what we did. And because of that, we're like, oh, wait, how do you not get it? But for a child basically has to memorize the timetables. And there are only 2 ways you're going to memorize the timetables. 1, by doing a fuckload of timetables. Or 2, by doing a lot of repetitions and practice. And because, in a sense, he's probably not doing either, it really messes with his ability. And I could tell the moment I was helping him with the homework. Once I helped him, I told him to break down the process. I was like, if you don't know what you're doing, let's write it down. And let's do the timetables. I grabbed a spare piece of paper. I was like, here's what we're going to do. You're going to write down, if it's 8 times 4, right? And then you got to add. And I went down. And each time he was doing a question, I was like, okay, what do you do? And, boom, next. What do you do? Right? Like, let's say it's like 12 times 8. Okay, what do you do first? 8 times 2. Okay, put the 6 on the bottom, carry the 6. Okay, what do you do next? Okay, boom, 92, 96. And you just go through that. And once I did that, I essentially just helped him by breaking everything down. I do not believe anyone took the time to break down these steps for him. And I believe it comes into gaming too, which is my thing. When people don't know how to teach properly. I believe teaching in itself is a fundamental skill. I think everyone agrees with this. And the fact that we kind of pilot teaching into, bam, go to college, get a degree, get teaching license, it's not really a great system, I would say. It's not a great system at all. It's actually pretty terrible. Damn, get a teaching degree. Man, and kind of teachers, sometimes they're either fulfilled people, those are like professors, or they're people that have piloted just to be a teacher. And I believe that's some of the worst things. Because teaching in itself, yes, it's an impressive job. I wouldn't say it's a hard job to acquire. I would say there are just a lot of steps in the process that make it annoying. But it's not a hard job in the sense of to obtain. It's just, you have to follow the path. And that I feel is bad. And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'll just be a teacher, and then they can't get the teaching job. I think that's another story. And so these people, they either failed in their profession, they couldn't find a job in their profession, because that profession is hard to find a job, and they didn't realize. And now they're in this pipeline of, I need to pay off my student debt, and the only way I can do that is by teaching. And then all these people know is the school system. That's all they know. And they become roped in this pipeline. And then it's kind of like an MLM, a Ponzi scheme, where it's like, okay, you have to go get a degree and do this in order to become successful. When the people telling you this stuff aren't the general people that are successful in life. That's what I'd say. Really not. And it sucks. Now, do I believe going to school, going to college, and all of that is a great way? I think it's a great foundation to have a career opportunity. Not to have a career, to have a career opportunity. I believe nowadays it's probably just like training for a lot of stuff. There's so many people I've seen that just work jobs. The jobs are not even careers that just meet them. Oh, you're working at the grocery store. Oh yeah, this guy has like a master's degree. Yeah, I just can't get a job. Worked there for 3 years. And so I'd say that sucks. And they're in debt too, they're in debt. It's like 3% interest debt, but it's still debt. And so these people kind of get roped into this. And so regarding teaching and gaming, I think Valorant was the biggest wave of like quote unquote teachers and stuff, and people teaching video game like philosophy. So I believe anyone that kind of got a Valorant coach kind of learned a lot of things. I remember I had this coworker from work, from an old job, that hit me up and was like, "Oh yeah, you're playing Valorant? Oh, I just got a PC. Let's play." And we were playing, and then I remember it was bind, I think. It was mid, and I'm like, you have to make sure you're clearing your angles when you're doing this. Boom, boom, boom. And it was funny because the exact moment, it was like he got a kill. And it's like a lot of these things that we do in life, teaching and stuff like that, when they're taught, you have to be taught by someone that can break down the steps. When someone can't break down the steps, someone can't learn. Personally, I was going to make a deadlock, a movement thing for people that don't know how to move, because I felt the same way, and I feel like I can break it down for people. I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I played this morning and my movement was horrible, so I don't know. But for a lot of people, like, if you don't break down steps, they won't understand it. And then, in order to apply it, you have to teach the people the steps. I believe the McDonald's method of teaching is probably the best method of teaching there is, where you kind of specialize in one thing and you learn how to do it in a specified scenario. That's what I believe is the best way to learn. Boom, we're doing this and we're learning it in this specified scenario. I think it's the greatest way to learn. So, I'm gonna say it's interesting for sure. It's interesting for sure. Alright. And learning how to do these things in a specified scenario and options. So like for video game, let's say we're continuing on Valorant. We want to learn how to peek. Every time you peek in an unspecified angle, you want to jitter peek, you want to slice the pie. After you slice the pie and clear, then you wide swing. And if you sent that to someone every time, they would get that. But the problem with learning and scenarios in general is that's a static scenario, and static scenarios will fundamentally help you in about 80% of scenarios. But then there's scenarios that are off grid that help you get to that level in a video game or something that are there, that are not in those fundamentals. They're off kilter. And so, like in Valorant, it's like don't take a 50-50 gunfight. But there are literally times in these games where you have to take the wrong play and just be better. And I think that's really fun. I do. I think it's super duper funny. And so today I'm playing Deadlock, and I'd say the current thing about Deadlock is that it's very tempo oriented at a serious level. At a low level, it's just have better items. And if you're better, you can tempo. I believe I'm just not playing strong enough by myself. And so that's what we're gonna work on later. But you need to be able to tempo. And I was watching this guy. He was playing Bebop on my team. And the guy didn't have a single point into gun invest. He didn't have a single point into his gun investment. No money. And it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? And it's like, man, I wish I could just go into rank and not play standard. I wish I could. But it's like, yo, I want to play Celeste. I want to play Viper. I want to play these characters. And granted, my problems with these characters aren't the characters themselves. They're my fundamental knowledge of the game. And this Bebop on my team that has no point in gun invest and is trying to clear a wave 20 minutes in is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it was the same with an Ivy. These people didn't have their gun spike, which is 4.8k gold, at 30 minutes into the game. And it's like, these people fundamentally don't understand the video game. And I can't get mad because they're not in a ranked environment. But of course the enemy team's Viper. Capacitor, 13 minutes. Max gold, max purple spike. Go up, green spike, yep. Always. And they're like, the gun is terrifying on that character. It is terrifying, Ivy's weapon. Oh my gosh. It is the scariest thing alive. But I mean, it is what it is. And yeah, so back on the teaching and the teaching pipeline. Yeah, it's this career where it's a career that takes dedicated people. They're, in a sense, failed. They're failed professionals. And some people genuinely have a passion. But some people just genuinely aren't good at breaking down things. But then there's this level of, you need to have patience and this obscene level of patience because you cannot foster children that aren't your own, and so these kids are grown up with teachers with different teaching styles, and all of this throughout their whole life, and teachers of different level of interest in teaching, and I'd say that's also worrying. Like, holy, how do you have teachers that are just not interested? And it sucks. And so until there's a desire to have that, it's not possible. And then we have AI making students worse, because this is one thing I want to talk about. Back in our days, when I was growing up, early 2000s, a lot of students, when you had to learn something, right, you had to do two things. You had to cite your source, and then you had to cite your source, and you had to use appropriate thing, and not Wikipedia, because Wikipedia was generated by people. Those are people's testimonies or whatever. They could just be edited by people, not someone like professional in the field. And because of that, that was this weird thing where it was like, okay, the best place to get information is Wikipedia, but now you have to go to the source in Wikipedia to get the information, and that's what you had to learn how to do. It was a learning thing. But now you can just go on TikTok. You don't even need to go on Google or anything. Go on TikTok and search something up, and that's how some people find information nowadays. And the problem with information now versus information in the past is information in the past was about information gathering. That's what information was about in the past. Now it's not about information gathering. Now it's about information filtration. And this is the thing a lot of older people struggle with now. And that's why they get scammed and stuff. It's like, oh, before the internet was this source where you can kind of trust anything. But now it's this place of, oh, I can't trust everything. I have to learn how to filter stuff. Now, granted, filtering was a point. That was a part of the Wikipedia process. But generally, you could trust Wikipedia and stuff. Now, you can't trust these places. So it's this weird thing of, hey, I'm here and I'm present and I'm doing all the right things, but I'm being lied to. And I'm being lied to is a big thing too. We're in this place with information filtration. With me working out, we can talk about protein. Oh, I don't know if I can talk during this. Protein is a big thing, and my mother's kind of in this rabbit hole of information filtration. You can't teach people some things, but right now she's in this organic kind of facade, I'd say. She does go to different grocery stores, so I'd say it's a little bit more trustworthy. She doesn't go to the main grocery stores like I do, so I'll take the cancer. she's gonna live cancer free. She's gonna live longer than me. It's this thing. Hey, organic protein, high protein. My mom is like, oh yeah, let's get this cheese blend because this cheese is higher in protein because it's Parmesan. And the reality of it is, if you're going to be entirely honest, the amount of protein in that is almost negligible some of the times because of the amount of saturated fats. And we become bullet trained This is what companies do with this information. High protein sources, good source of protein. All these places do this where it's like, hey, this is a good source of protein, this is high protein. And it's generally not, right? Because I believe the 2,000 calorie diet is kind of outdated. I believe a lot of Americans are probably on a 3,000 calorie diet. But the amount of protein that people get is like generally it should be done to your body weight. And so some people may have a 2,000 calorie diet, I think the recommended is 30 grams of protein. Which, I mean, sure, it's enough to keep you alive, but like, you're not going to be a high functioning person with that amount of protein. And we believe the percentages sometimes rather than the numbers. And these places are able to lie to us because high protein is, oh, this is 8 grams of protein, it's 25%. Anything that's 25% more of an outdated metric is good enough. Yay, let's go, it's high protein. And now it's about quality of protein and protein sources and a collagen protein, what's a real protein. And so now things are even more skeptical. And straight up these places can just lie to you too. So you have to filter information, source it, and if you actually care about accurately having stuff, you have to source things to like such a large degree. And one big thing was I was watching this guy. He was ordering stuff on I think it was TikTok Shop. And these were AI generated toys like bath bombs. And when he was doing that, they were really, really described in a way. And then he gets them, obviously don't work because they're AI generated toys. And it's also from an outsourced place, so they can just lie. They have different rules, regulations. You're not suing someone from China. And so that's also a thing with consumer products. Information filtration is just it's just there. It's such an important skill to have. And a lot of us we're delusional. We like to believe we're the best at everything. Given the right time and right things, we can all fall for stuff. And I got a package the other day. And my mother was it got stolen basically. And she was like, oh, it's delivered. And she got like a UPS, the United States Postal Service, there's like a scam going on with them. And people say there's a scam going on with them. And basically, these other places will send you phishing links, links with a slightly modified URL. So that one, they could either get information on you, so then they can indoctrinate you into different scams, or two, they could just steal your information from the registration page on USPS, their fake USPS. And so information filtration is so important, and it is such an important skill. And unfortunately, in order to be informed on a subject, to be able to filter it, you have to be knowledgeable on the subject. And that sucks. Because before, you could kind of go on Reddit or something and be unknowledgeable on the subject. But now you have to be so hyper specified and so hyper specific that you can't know it. You have to be so hyper specified and so hyper knowledgeable on these facts that it's kind of crazy. That beat is hard to just be there. Hey, I'm not the best. But we try to maintain things here. We do. We do. What's next? Yeah. So because we need to be trained on these things, they're not the best. And hey, which is a skill we're gonna have to learn. But the rate at which things are changing currently it's kind of rough for people. Where people have to adapt to new learning styles while being young in the development stage, which is hard because a lot of our curriculum is based off of fundamental things that we should have learned. Fundamental things that should be there. And because some people don't have those, we're not able to truly be the best at anything. And it requires a lot of dedication. And a lot of people in this world don't have dedication to a lot of stuff. They're forced by money. It is what it is. And money is the main incentive. It's not the pursuit of anything now. The pursuit of anything. It's one thing, when I started Twitch, I talk about this all the time. But a lot of people go on Twitch, oh, you can make money off the internet? That's what I'm doing. And then they essentially exploit people, not trying to, or maybe with trying to. And it's not the best. It's not the best. And I talk about this all the time, but especially with subs and stuff, sub is an incentive for viewers. And some people, I believe, just don't make a quality enough content level to be worth subbing. So that's what I feel about myself when I do Twitch. I'm like, hey, don't sub. I don't want your sub. And then people sub and I'm like, you're stupid. Who knows if I'm gonna be live next week. I've been pretty consistent recently, but really, who knows? It's not my job, it's a hobby. And we're capitalizing on hobbies. That's the method nowadays. The method nowadays is how can we capitalize on our hobbies to make money so that we could do the things we like. And then essentially we incorporate our hobbies, and then eventually our hobbies don't become our hobbies, they become our jobs. And then we don't like our hobbies anymore. It's something that happens to all of us. I mean, to everyone in the content creation space. And it's a big thing that I've done for me, especially because I had severe gaming burnout. And then I decided to not try to gamify my hobbies. I was like, hey, every stream kind of has to have the desire to be a YouTube video and all this stuff. And then it made what I like doing worse. It made the things I enjoy worse. And because we're gamifying our hobbies, not gamifying, we're incorporating our hobbies, we enjoy them less. And so we're motivated to do them less. And then our corporation side of it fails. And that's why a lot of streamers fail sometimes, is because then their entire motive was to make it a business, and they're not a business person. Or, yeah, I'd just say they're not a business person. And that sucks. that sucks. Um, and I mean, money and greed is everywhere. We all need to live. We all need to do something that we enjoy. And we all need to make money to put food on the table. And to make money, you need to spend money. And it's this vicious cycle. I think it's very funny. Let's see, what else am I thinking about? I was doing so well too. I was like, I gotta do this before I finish. But I'm just sitting here just.
4, 5, 6,
7, 8. So always out of form too. It's rough. It's rough. But yeah, talking about information overload, I guess we'll talk about some things. Let's see. I guess it's all going on me now. Personally, what I did before was, I was doing chest presses, 3 sets of 15, 10 to 15. We vibe. We don't care too much. I'm a bodybuilder, just someone that works a physical job and wants to be able to do my job easier. So after that, we did chest flies. I don't have a 20-pound weight set, so they're not the best form. Maybe it's something I'll work on. Getting the back rooms is getting set up. I think we'll call it here on this exercise. No biceps. I have 20 pounds that do arm raises, whatever the fuck those are called, but I can't do that, so we're gonna have some puny ass shoulders. I'm gonna finish this off with Abington. But I believe fitness is just something you need to vibe and do. Some people spend too much time in the gym and stuff. And to that level, it's whatever. Do you, I guess. But results are only guaranteed on a sustainable level. A lot of people overdo the gym. Hey, I spent 5 hours in the gym every day, and it's like, at that point, you're just hanging out. You need something sustainable that you'll do for the long term. And maybe the gym is something you'll only do for a year. But it's something that you should strive to have strive to do in your daily life. Because the thing about life is, as much as we want to escape it, and I believe this is the thing, we all want to escape the circle. Wake up, go to sleep, do this, do that. The thing about life and every part of life, no matter what you have in life, you have to get into routine. Routine is a big part of life. Unfortunately, it is. You can't live every day of your life variably. Because regardless, there are things that you need to do every day at a given time, in every part of the day. To be a holistic person, it's something that you need to do. And if you're not going to be a great person, I think. A well-rounded person, a person that's benefiting the society, and stuff like that. Because your routine is kind of what defines you as a person, I feel, right? And exercising is a part of that routine you have to fill in. I guess you don't have to, but it's something you should probably think about doing. That the grip is out. Yeah, I'd say that's something else too. And so routine is something we all need to have. And in order for things to be sustainable, they need to fit within our routine. And so you can be hyped about the gym and making progress, but you also need to be able to adapt that into your routine to fit into your lifestyle. Because if not, you could be taking away from things you enjoy for a momentary stint of gratitude. And I'd say that's not the best. It's not. I'm gassing out. You're gassing out right now. Whew. I don't know how I was able to do this for so long. I can't even see how long. I should probably bring my GoPro up when I do these. I like the audio quality a little better and stuff too. Which is crazy because iPhone 16 Pro Max should be better than a GoPro Hero 10 Black. It should be. But baseline it isn't. I don't know. This room is just echoey though, for sure. The back rooms is still back rooming. And hey, that's part life. This is being fixed up, so so it's there. Finish off one more thing. I'll be good for today. One more thing. Whew. Oh, this shit feels really after everything. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be consistent in the routine. We changed Big Back Saturday, whatever the fuck it was, to once a week IRL. Yeah, that's what I think it will be. Because I want to keep these up. This is something I want to do for a long time. And shit, like a little podcast type thing. Alright. Let's go. This is nothing. Every single thing on my back just cracked. This isn't the best weight for this, but whew, I'm extremely good. Let's go. So, yeah. I guess we'll talk about this because I'll be ending off soon. I'm trying to do the streaming schedule thing properly, but this week was bad. I didn't do it at all yesterday. That's my fault. But for the rest of this week, it should be around 5 a.m. Eastern. On days I work. So we'll continue to do that. I believe that's way of doing things for me right now. And that these days are just like walk around days, so they'll be whenever, so I can put the videos out. Yeah, that's what they'll be. Those will be like days, probably Monday, Sunday, vibe days where I try to try to get what I'm doing. I do want to make deadlock videos. Those are coming out. The problem is I don't want to make standard matches because standard matches suck. But I just don't have the characters for ranked. So I can't have good ranking. And maybe I'll work on that. Maybe it's something I'll do. One thing I will say is competitive games make me a vile person. I think this game is, my level of toxicity is there because I can't increase my MMR while playing unranked, and it stinks. So I'm in these games with a lot of worse players, but I'm not good enough fundamentally to entirely just carry the games because I throw. And because I throw, it makes the game harder. And then I'm losing, and then I can't get in the right to the character because you need 15 wins. Shit. But I'm cooked. Screw that last set. Yeah. I think that's about it. See you guys next time. Peace.